The events that directly led to the Battle of Sekigahara began with the death of Hideyoshi Toyotomi in 1598. Before he died, Hideyoshi set up a council of 5 regents who swore loyalty to the Toyotomi family, as his heir, Hideyori, was too young to rule. Tokugawa Ieyasu was one of these regents, and quickly began using his position to enhance his own power and prestige. Toyotomi loyalists were not happy with this situation, and began to plot against Ieyasu. Ishida Mitsunari became the unofficial head of an alliance of Toyotomi loyalists, mainly centered in western Japan, that was destined to meet Ieyasu at Sekigahara in the year 1600. The fighting that led up to the Battle of Sekigahara began with Ieyasu's forces, led by Date Masamune, winning an important victory at Shiroishi against Uesugi Kagekatsu. This battle helped protect Ieyasu's rear, as Kagekatsu was one of the few supporters of Ishida in eastern Japan. Ieyasu's forces then won another important battle at Gifu in central Japan that ensured that the road into western Japan remained open. Shortly after these battles, Ieyasu began his march west to meet Ishida's army head-on. While this was happening, however, Ieyasu's son, Hidetada, began a siege at Ueda Castle that was wholly unnecessary, as victory at Sekigahara would render Ueda Castle irrelevant. The castle was defended by Sanada Yukimura and his father, both of whom were more than capable commanders, especially when defending. This ended with Hidetada withdrawing from Ueda without capturing the castle. In fact, as a result, Hidetada's troops were weakened and were delayed from reaching Sekigahara in time to make any significant impact on the battle.
Confrontation of Sekigahara, the two sides were relatively evenly matched. Each side had about 80,000 troops, with the number slightly favoring Ishida and the Western Army. Fighting began in earnest when Ii Naomasa and his famed Red Devils began a cavalry charge into the Western Army that others from the Eastern Army joined. The fighting swung back and forth between the two sides, with Western Army slowly gaining the upper hand, even though not all of the Western Army was committed to the battle. For instance, the forces of Shimazu Yoshihiro were initially reluctant to join the battle due to an insult by one of Ishida's strategists, but eventually did join, putting even more pressure on the Eastern Army. Otani Yoshitsugu, famed for being a leper and Ishida's good friend, also brought his troops forward to relieve the men that had been on the front line since the battle started. Seeing an opportunity to strike the final blow in the Eastern Army, Ishida made a signal to Kobayakawa Hideaki to charge down the mountain they were on and press into the beleaguered Eastern Army. However, Hideaki had promised to defect the Eastern Army before the battle started. He also did not want to join the losing side, however, so he refused to act at all. Eventually, Ieyasu ordered his troops to fire a volley at Hideaki, finally forcing him to act. Hideaki's troops charged down the mountain into Otani's flank, which, as Otani seemed to have been at least suspicious of Hideaki, was turned to face the charge before it began. However, the numbers proved to be too much for Otani's troops and the rest of the Western Army, as one more push broke the Western Army's line, leading to their defeat, as the other Western Army leaders began to defect as well. Ishida Mitsunari was executed, and the daimyos who supported the eastern side were richly rewarded, while the other ones who supported the Western Army were largely stripped of their titles. More importantly, Tokugawa Ieyasu became the first Tokugawa shogun of Japan in 1603, an institution that would last until 1868.